And let's begin this broadcast with a mega exclusive here on India Today. I'm handing it over to Rajdeep Sardesai. He's joined by Sachin Pilot. Rajdeep, good morning. It's over to you.
And as tensions continues to simmer in Rajasthan following the tragic death of a boy beaten to death allegedly by his teacher in Jalore, and Dalit groups are protesting against the manner in which this killing has taken place. I am joined by Sachin Pilot, Congress leader from Rajasthan. Appreciate your joining us, Mr. Pilot. You have gone to Jalore and you've made it very clear that the time has come for the government to walk the talk when it comes to attacks on Dalits. Do you want to be more specific? Because this is being seen as Sachin Pilot striking out against Ashok Gehlot's leadership, questioning the manner your own Congress government is handling cases involving atrocities against Dalits.
Not at all. I think this is far from being about individuals or any party politics. The fact that this young boy was beaten by a school teacher and the FIR that the father has put in the police station states very clearly that there's a casteist angle to it. Of course, the police is investigating the whole matter. The teacher has now been taken under custody. The recognition of the school is now being cancelled. Financial compensation has been given to the child and the family, etc. But I wanted to make a larger point that it's okay for us to act once the incident happens. My endeavor was to somehow create a sentiment and a feeling that people in the state or anywhere in the country, if they feel they can act with impunity, despite having very strong safeguards against the protection of the life and welfare of Dalits and tribals, people who act with impunity feel they can get away with such actions. That mindset has to be curbed. And for that, we really need to put an effort, and all of us have to do it collectively. The boy's family obviously was shattered. They were quite scared about their own safety and well-being, which I've ensured that the government will provide security to the family. But this incident, I think, is reflective of the sentiment sometimes people have, that no matter how strong and stringent a rule or regulation you may have, you can still get away with it. In a few weeks' time, it will be off the headlines. There will be a final report of the police. You manipulate the witnesses, and you can get away with it. So the sentiment really is of hurt amongst the community, which is very marginalized in Rajasthan. And I wanted to make that point, that we have to work hard to win that trust and the credibility of the governance systems itself. The whole ecosystem needs to really, the shortcomings need to be filled. And that's what I said yesterday.
But Mr. Pilot, the fact is investigations are still on. There are some reports suggesting that the caste angle was brought in later, that the boy was beaten up not because he wanted to take water from a pot allegedly belonging to the upper caste, but because there was a fight and the boy was beaten by the school teacher. So the investigations are on, but you've already gone there, and other politicians are already going there and bringing in a caste angle, and this is seen to be a major embarrassment for your own government, for the Ashok Gehlot government, and this is ahead of election next year. So the general belief is that politics is now being played out over this incident instead of ensuring justice to the boy.
The first thing I said was that we must not do politics, because no matter what we say, that poor boy will not come back to life again. The fact that he was 9 years old, that he was studying in that school, that the teacher hit him and he died 2 weeks post the attack on him, they're all facts. Of course, the police is investigating what the real cause of altercation could be. But the FIR that the father has put on in the police station very clearly states that there was a caste angle to it. It has to be investigated. But like I said, it's not about the nitty-gritties of the case, this case per se. But generally, there was another case in Pali, 100 kilometers from Jalore, where a young man was killed because he was Dalit and he wore a moustache. He grew a moustache and he was attacked because of that. So I'm saying the sentiment that people had, that they can attack people from marginalized communities, and Dalits and tribals, after so many years of independence, 75 years of it, if we have any part of our country where they feel that the Dalits feel vulnerable, I mean, no matter how many speeches we politicians make, if you're not able to entrust and give that confidence to the communities at large, then we still have a long way to go. And I think it's not enough to say that it happened in some other states and we are taking action, because no matter which part of the country it is, every single life is valuable. It has to be, and God forbid, Rajdeep, if this was to happen to one of our own children, how would we react? How much satisfaction would we get by mere assurances and promises of action?
But that is precisely where the politics comes in, because your Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot has said that, look, these incidents also happen in other states. As you are saying, that is not good enough. That is why it is being interpreted as Sachin Pilot, in a sense, sending out a message to Mr. Gehlot that you've got to get your act together. Because when I look at the figures, crimes, atrocities against SCs in Rajasthan, they've gone up substantially. 2018 4,607, 2019 6,794, and 2020 7,017. Among the highest in the country are atrocities against Dalits in Rajasthan, and it's your Congress government there in Rajasthan.
That's why I'm saying I think we have done whatever we could immediately after the incident happened. We've taken cognizance of the fact that the teacher has been now put under IPC 302. So action is being taken. But I'm trying to say that now, today, yesterday, last night, the family was feeling vulnerable because they felt that if, once this story is off the headlines, they'll again feel threatened. So we have to ensure that they have a long-term security. And this man and his child who was beaten to death suffered injuries by some police action. That also must be investigated. If police has done a lathi charge on the family of the deceased, that can't be acceptable, no matter which party, which government, which state. So these are issues, Rajdeep. It doesn't matter. There was a Dalit atrocity. A girl was similarly killed 5-7 years ago when BJP was in government, and we took the matter up very seriously, and we fought for her, and we got a justice in the end. So we have to speak up when things need to be spoken about. I think government has taken appropriate action for now, but I'm saying the whole system needs to be fixed. There are certainly some loopholes that are allowing people with such mindset to act with impunity without any fear that they may get caught or they may face consequences. They feel that later on, a few weeks, few months later, they'll get away with it. And that's the fear some of the marginalized communities in India face today.
That's exactly where I'm coming to. We are celebrating 75 years of independence. The Congress party has often attacked the BJP, especially, for example, in Gujarat after the Una incident when Dalits were targeted, saying that the Modi government hasn't done enough. Or the state governments like Gujarat haven't done enough. But here we have Congress government Rajasthan amongst the highest atrocities against Dalits. So how do you respond to that? How do you respond? How can the Congress party take the moral high ground when instances like this happen? Or when the statistics show a very high level of atrocities against Dalits in Rajasthan?
Two things. One, the state with the highest atrocities in the country is Uttar Pradesh, that we all know. It's run by a BJP government. The cases increased in the recent past. The government has claimed that because we're registering the FIRs, that's why the numbers have gone up. I think it's not about the statistical data that we have. It's about the larger sentiment that prevails amongst people who are most vulnerable amongst us, whether they're tribals or Dalits or minorities or weaker sections or even marginal farmers. So those are the people that need a full assurance from the from the law and order agencies, administration, the police department, for example, needs to reach out and make sure that they feel that they're stakeholders in the systems of governance. It's when they feel disenfranchised, that's when the sentiments happen and the feeling of vulnerability seeps in. I think government's taken the financial packages has been given to the family. The Congress party also come forward to give financial assistance. All that will happen, but I think justice, swift, immediate, effective, and transparent. That's what we have to prove to the family that has been affected by this tragedy.
The reason I'm again going to ask you this is because when Hathras happened, Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra all go to the spot, demand justice for the family of the girl who was tragically killed there, raped. In this instance, we don't see that same level of anger. Instead, you've got actually Congress persons who are resigning, local congressmen saying the government has not done enough. I will ask you again, is Sachin Pilot therefore raising his voice to say, look, whichever government is there, Congress or BJP, atrocities against Dalits are a dark spot on this country 75 years into independence, and we need to change the system. Not enough to talk, you need to walk the talk now.
I cannot agree with you more, Rajdeep. Parties, governments, elections will come and go. It's part of our democratic system. But there must be some things you stand for, some value systems that you want to ingrain in the future generations. If we don't speak up by our own actions, and by the way, you're right about Uttar Pradesh when that incident happened, all of us, the Congress party, protested because that was again a very brutal incident. Even here, ministers in the government have gone, the party president has gone. I was there yesterday. We've done all that we can to wipe the tears of the family that have lost a young child. It's a very sad moment for them, and only they can feel that pain. So we've empathized, we've taken quick action, we've given whatever help financially we can. We're even considering giving a job to the family. So all these things, as a reaction to the incident, we are doing. I'm just saying that we have to make sure that people in that region, in that state, wherever we are, don't feel that the law is there, but it can be manipulated to suit people who have the resources or the influence to get away with it. That sentiment, has to be ingrained into each and every citizen of ours who's an equal citizen. And this Dalit, non-Dalit issue, really after so many years, 7.5 decades of independence, we've got to do a lot more to earn the confidence of the people who have the least amongst us.
But let me ask you a straight last direct question. Has the Ashok Gehlot government failed? Has in a way your chief minister, because every time you raise your voice, people say Sachin Pilot is raising his voice in a way also against the way Rajasthan is being led by Mr. Gehlot. Are you very clear in your mind that your government of Ashok Gehlot also has to be held accountable, yes or no?
We are all part of this government. I not be working in the government, but this is a Congress party government. We worked really hard to make this government. Remember 5 years ago when we were out of power, we were left with 21 MLAs. We all worked really hard to create this government, and a large part of our government support came from the underprivileged, from the Dalits, from the tribals, from young people, from farmers, and those are the people who must feel it's their government. So we are working towards achieving those goals. Whenever there are some loopholes, and I have stood by, whenever I'm in opposition or government, I need to speak my mind out when I feel something is wrong. And Vasundhara Raje was chief minister. I spoke out when I felt something was wrong. And even now, I think government has taken action against after the incident happened. But we have to do more to win the trust. And there's nothing wrong in saying that. We must accept that people are being brutalized, people are being attacked upon, and we must do more to safeguard their interest. It is for everybody, it's for this whole state, not just one party or one ideology.
Okay. Sachin Pilot, you've spoken out on an issue which really reflects, which we all should reflect upon and introspect 75 years after independence. If a young boy is beaten to death in his school, whatever was the provocation, but I appreciate you joining us and speaking to us here on the news today. Thank you very much.